Well, hello, folks. I'm here with Mary Niemela, and she is the executive director of the Kettle Gundlach Shelter, and they provide an amazing resource to our community for victims of domestic violence who need to flee a situation that's dangerous. It gives them a safe place to come, and I'll let her share a little bit more about how that started and where they've been and what they have for plans going forward. So welcome, Mary.
Thanks for having us. I appreciate the time to talk about the shelter. And our shelter started in 1980 when actually it started in 1979 in a woman's home in Lorium, and who could see the need. And then in 1980, the state stepped in, who's still our funders, the Division of Victim Services, and they stepped in and asked if we would want to be, part of their movement, the domestic violence movement. And of course, we did that. We're one of the first 5 shelters in the state of Michigan. So, and of course, Ironwood's about 24 miles farther from Lansing than we are, but we're the most northern, I should say, shelter. But so there's 7 shelters in the Upper Peninsula, and there's 46 in all in the state. So, we are part of a unique rural community up where we are, and we service Keweenaw, Houghton, and Ontonagon counties. And in the very beginning, we had Baraga and Gogebic as well, but then they became their own shelters. So we provide shelter for victims of domestic violence, as was said, and their children, of course. And we provide services to all victims of domestic violence. And if you hear people talk about IPV, that's intimate partner violence, that's the new way our funders refer to domestic violence, but I still continue to say domestic violence. So, and so we were funded then. We moved into a facility in 1983 that was donated to us by Herman Gundlach, and we're very appreciative of the Gundlach family for donating that house to us, which we remained in that house and used it as a shelter, the old Agassiz house in Calumet until 2021. Actually, just last year. We've not been in our new facility almost a year, and we're very grateful to the family for that. But once we found out we could get a new building, that 4 stories became too small almost, because of course it was a big old Victorian home and divided up in small rooms, and so we were able to move into our new building in 2021, and we actually went to a 1-story building, and everything is so nice to be able to have on one floor. We actually have more communal living space than we did in the former shelter. So we still are called the Kettle Gundlach Shelter Home for victims of domestic violence. Kettle Gundlach, of course, was Wink's wife, and she died in 1983, and that's why he named it after her, because she was an activist in women's issues, and we will keep that name wherever we move to, and hopefully during my watch we're not moving anymore. So I've been there for almost 32 years, a little over 31 years. And I started out as wanting to volunteer, never did get to volunteer, left with a job description, and the rest is history. I've only been the director for almost 9 years, but I'm very, I have such a passion for what we do that I never believed I could do this. And we have a great staff and great advocates, and always in the need of volunteers to help us, because we are there 24/7 and every day of the year, and so we always need people to help us out, and it is a very rewarding job. So if anyone has any questions about that, they can always call the shelter at 337-5632, and or look on our website also, which is bkgshelterhome.org, and we have a Facebook page too, Kettle Gundlach Shelter Home Facebook page, and so there's information about our agency and what we do on all 3 of those sites. And so we moved into our new facility last year, and we purchased it in October of 20. It's hard to think of the years. 2020, with the pandemic, it's like a whole year was missing out of our lives. And we were able to purchase that because of a very generous family in the community that left us in their estate. And of course, that's one of the ways to give to the shelter as well, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But so when we moved in, we had to redo 3/4 of a building. And so, as you'll probably see some of the pictures on this video of what we started with and where we ended up. And people have asked us if they know where we've moved to. Well, that's a smaller building. How did you do that? How did you go from 4 floors to 1 floor? But like I said, there's more communal living space, and actually we all have our own offices now, which we didn't before. And each of we have 4 bedrooms. We're still a 10-bed shelter. That's what the state funds us for. And people have asked us, well, are you busy? And we have not had an empty night since we moved in. And that doesn't mean that we're all 10 beds are full, but it doesn't matter. One person being there is just as important as 10 people being there. So, and we do have support groups that meet on Thursdays from 6 to 8. However, right now they're suspended during the pandemic, and now that the numbers are dropping, we hope to resume those maybe in May. But we'll have that information on our website and our Facebook page as well. And we are thinking of having an afternoon group too, so to help people that are in that situation that have children in school, and so we can accommodate as many people as we possibly can. Not only do we have residential services, but we have non-residential services as well. So if somebody needs to or wants to talk to one of our advocates, it's 337-5623 is our crisis line. And or if you need to just talk, you don't need to tell us who you are or anything. If you just want to talk about your situation, we certainly are there to help. Our staff is small, but nonetheless, so is our shelter. So we are there 24/7, and we are always in, like I said, need of volunteers. But we're also looking for a part-time residential advocates who help us out with the evenings and overnights. And years ago, we never paid anybody to do that. We always had a volunteer to do that, but times have changed, certainly. And right now, I'm also looking for a shelter coordinator who would be training the volunteers and working, just making sure the shelter is running the way it should be. And that was my first job, and it really was a rewarding job, as all of them have been. And so as we move through getting into our new facility, we realized that, boy, things cost a lot of money, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't bring up, the things that we've had to do to renovate the place. And so we worked with our engineering firm, OHM, and our contractors. Our main contractor was REJ, and we had a plumbing and electrical and heating subcontractors, and they were all local and familiar to us because they helped us out at the other facility as well. So we had a really good working relationship with those that we helped us make what was quite an empty building into the facility it is now. And we had to build all the bedrooms, we had to build our offices, and renovate bathrooms to be ADA, and kitchens and everything. So all the doors, all the handles, and it's just amazing what you have to go through. But one of the big things that we had was our sprinkler system. We were no longer grandfathered in to not have a sprinkler system. So our $20,000 estimate of a sprinkler system turned into $66,473. And I have deemed our sprinkler system with the name of Rosie, like from the Jetsons, if you're old enough to remember the Jetsons. And, Rosie always saved the day. She was always there to help. Yeah. And we hope we never use Rosie, ever, never, And my 3 biggest fears are fire and somebody breaking in and staff getting locked out. So I don't want any of those to happen. And but the sprinkler system now will certainly help us if that ever does, if there ever is a fire. But over the year of us building that, we were able to, through grants and people's donations, which we're very appreciative of, raised all but $7,200 of that $66,000 plus dollars. So we're very grateful for that. And Also, we had quite a few fundraisers over the year. Build a bedroom, maybe you were part of that, which people provided bedding, and helped us build the walls actually, and it was amazing to see that. Of course, we had some really nice prizes attached to taking the chance with making a donation on us and for us, and it was a lot of fun. So in the pictures, you'll see what the bedrooms might look like and how your bedding and your contributions to that made that happen. And we're again glad that you were able to help and be a part of that. And we're just really wanting people to know ways that we get asked often, well, how do I help? How can I help? And so maybe some of you have been part of our hashtag Giving Tuesday, which we've been blessed enough to be a part of over the whole time that Portage Health Foundation has done that event, and every year it's grown, and that's been such a nice contribution to the shelter. And also we have our Friends of the Shelter campaign, which is an annual letter campaign, and that usually comes out in the fall of the year. And also attending our events. Hopefully this year we'll be back to face-to-face events, which the first will be our music event, and then we're hoping to have our golf scramble back again.
Oh, okay.
And so the locations for that haven't been firmed up yet, so I'm hopeful the golf scramble will be in Calumet at the golf course there, and actually that's where we've had our music event too in the early summer months. Okay. And had live music and a silent auction, and we've been holding this Crafting for a Cause event, which this will be our third annual if and when we get to have it, and it's a day-long crafting event. It's not necessarily a sale like you see at Christmas time with the craft sales, but it's your opportunity to learn some new crafts and come and craft yourself. And we have a rummage sale table of craft items, which is a huge event. Okay. So people like to buy other people's leftover craft items to make their own. So we're hoping to have that as well, and then we have our motorcycle ride-in October, because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Wow. And so that's always the first Monday of October, and we start off at the American in Calumet. So people have just recently asked, well, when is that? And it's always the first Monday of October, and we've had a great turnout for that, riding from Calumet to Houghton. So okay. A lot of people are out watching us, and it started out as an awareness event, and over the years it's sort of developed into a little mini fundraiser. People are generous. They just give whether we ask or not. Mm-hmm. So that's important to us. But some other ways that you might think of, you might want to give if you can't attend those events. Of course, you can just always, mail a donation to P.O. Box 8 in Calumet to the shelter. But, reason why we got the new facility is somebody included us in their estate planning, in their afterlife planning of what they would do with their finances, and of course it could be done in many ways. I mean, we're also Thrivent members. People who are members of Thrivent have given to us through that. A real small thing is Amazon Smile. If you purchase things off of Amazon, you can choose us as their charity for that. So there's just many ways to give to the shelter, and if you're ever interested in finding out how to do that, just fundraising itself. If organizations want to get together and collect things, just give us a call to see what our needs are at that time. Okay. And right now, Michigan Tech has been doing a lot for us. The kids are collecting things, paper products and whatnot, and we're looking at a group to maybe do a canned good fundraiser for us if there's even the Sunday school or whoever wants to do that. Last year a student did it for us as their senior project and delivered 500 cans of fruits and vegetables and soup to us, which was great. I mean, we're just now having to buy some of those again. So just those 3 items came in, and it was like 500 cans of that. So did her she just was overwhelmed with people's generosity. So that's good for the young to be part of that. We appreciate that. So. Yeah. So if anyone ever has any questions, they can certainly call the shelter at 337-5632, and or you can email me at bkghome@pasty.com, and just see what you need, what you can do to help us. We appreciate anything.
And so for Facebook, if we look up like Barbara Kettle Gundlach Shelter on Facebook, then
Yes.
you've got a page.
Yes, we have
Okay.
a page on there.
Yeah.
And it's not as active as I want it to be,
Yeah.
but we do post events, and we post different things that are happening at the shelter. And again, our website is bkgshelterhome.org, and we usually have things listed on there as ways to give as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, yeah. If somebody has Facebook, I'd encourage you to like their page, and that way, if you do post an event or something, that probably will pop up in your feed, because that's good to know. Since and send them to us as well, like those dates of those events, and we'll publish that through the church as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I think everybody's looking forward to doing more in-person things and enjoying those social events and being together, and especially when there's a good cause behind it as well. Yeah.
Even our board meetings have been Zoom, and we're waiting, to hopefully get back together with that too. And if you're ever interested in being a board member, you can always reach out to us too, through email or that phone number I gave, and be a part of our team.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks so much, Mary.
Thank you.
Bye.